Am I the asshole for spending my son's university fund on a trip to Europe to drink beer like I always threatened instead of giving it to his stepbrother after he passed away?
My son was smart. Smarter than me. I almost requested a paternity test because he was so damn intelligent. That is a joke. My ex and I divorced when he was about 12. She remarried when he was 14. I did when he was 16. I had a respect set up for him. That's an education fund in Canada. As long as he went for post-secondary education, he could use the money for anything. I always told him that I was okay with him not going to university. That way, I could use the money I had saved up for him to go to Belgium and buy some beer from Monks that only allow you to buy one case. He knew I was joking, and he always played along. He wouldn't let me get his goat. When he got accepted to McGill, it was the proudest moment of my life. I took him out for a beer to celebrate his achievement and mourn the loss of my trip to Europe. My son was struck and killed by a drunk driver in March. I'm dealing with it. My ex is dealing with it. My wife has been nothing but my rock in this. She is holding me up. I was dealing with the funeral arrangements and everything when my ex came to talk to me about his money. She knew he had a scholarship and was just going to use the money for living expenses and an emergency fund. She asked me what I was going to do with it. I said I was going to do what I always said I would. I was going to Europe to drink beer. She asked if she could have it for her stepson. I thought about it and said no. Her husband is a decent enough person, but he made it clear that he wasn't responsible for any expenses for my son. Beyond food and shelter and stuff, obviously, like I said, he is decent. I said I was not going to do that. I was going to go drink beer in my son's honor. She says I'm wasting thousands of dollars, and I guess I am. I have to give back the government portion of the fund. But I don't care. My ex thinks I'm being stupid and irresponsible wasting my son's money like this. I don't care. My son would laugh his ass off if he knew I actually did it.
Sorry for your loss. I thought it was a clickbait, or how do they call it? But this is a sad post. I hope you enjoy your trip and pour out some for your homie like you youngsters like to say. It sounds like you guys had a good relationship.
Am I the asshole for not being friendly with my partner's daughters now that they've warmed up to me?
I'm 42, dating Tim, 59, a widower. He's in banking, I'm a bartender. I know what it looks like. His two daughters thought the same thing, but he's broke as a joke, and I've got a trust fund, so actually no. He's broke because his late wife got cancer. 3 times. He ran up 6 credit cards, second mortgage on the house, cashed out his retirement, everything and anything to get her the treatment she needed, and then to get treatment enough to see both daughters married. His daughters live 6 hours drive away. We drove to them for Christmas last year and the year before. They ignored me, dragged Tim away when he tried to include me, and prevented their husbands from making even small talk with me by talking over me. Year 1. Tim chastised them, they apologized, to him, not me. They blamed the pain of seeing their dad with a woman who wasn't their mom. Year 2, they did it again. This year I told Tim, not again. He could go, I would never ask him not to see his daughters for Christmas, but I'll stay here. Tim didn't love the idea because me going with him means we can share the responsibility of driving when his back starts to bother him. He hates to fly. His 2010 death trap is starting to go anyway, so I leased him a comfy luxury ride. My brother has a dealership. He called the girls, super excited that he'd be able to see them more often without having to worry about his back, who then blew up and accused him of spending their mother's money on a bullshit house and car to impress some bimbo bartender and didn't offer them a dime for their weddings. In the ensuing argument, it came out that they assumed there had been a life insurance policy, nor did they have any idea about the credit card debt or the second mortgage that the house was underwater on, or that Tim was looking at foreclosure and bankruptcy until he moved in with me. They did not realize it was my house, that he pays no bills save the water bill, man takes excessive showers, and shared groceries. Now the girls want my number. They are sorry I felt lonely at Christmas. They want to come visit and stay with us next year. Conveniently in summer, I live near a beach. I've told Tim absolutely not about giving out my number. I'm happy to be polite if they come to visit Tim, but we're not going to be friends. If they had talked to me for even 2 seconds, they'd have understood. I'm not shy about admitting the only thing I have ever contributed to my blessed financial state is not developing a crippling coke addiction like my cousin Danny did. Tim thinks I'm being too unforgiving. They would have warmed up to me eventually, but knowing how generous I am being with their father has made them warm up quicker. I maintain I don't care about now or later. They had their chance to not be catty brats over incorrect assumptions that I was taking advantage of him.
If you're still listening, don't forget to like and subscribe so I can post more stories like this.
Am I the asshole for making my pregnant sister-in-law cry when she kept asking why I changed my name?
My brother, 30 years old, is married to Haley, 29 years old, and they're expecting a baby together. Last year, I, 17 years old, officially changed my first name from Evelyn to Indy, which was a nickname form of my original middle name. My parents gave in after realizing how serious I was about being Indy and how I was not warming up to or growing into Evelyn. My brother and Haley want an older vintage name for their baby, and Haley asked me about 5 months ago why I disliked Evelyn enough to change the name. At the time, she brought up how popular the name has become and how vintage is back. I told her I didn't like vintage names, and to me, it sounded really old-fashioned. I told her the popularity didn't influence my decision. She wanted to know my reason for disliking older names and why I liked something like Indy instead. I didn't mind her asking this first time. She brought it up again a week later, and she asked the same question and pressed more for why. She asked a third and a fourth time. I gave her the same answer and asked her why she kept asking me. I told her my answer wasn't going to change. By the 7th time she asked, she admitted she was worried her baby would hate having an older name and wanted to figure out what she could do to prevent what happened with me happening to her. She also said she'd like me to rethink my name because she thought Evelyn was beautiful and she was sad I had chosen something like Indy over it. I asked her to stop so many times already, and I even asked my brother to stop her. He told me I needed to understand it was the hormones. I can easily say she has asked me this more than 25 times by now. I'm not exaggerating that number either. 2 weeks ago, when she brought it up again, she felt like I had made a mistake changing my name and how 30-year-old me wouldn't be so against Evelyn. I told her 30-year-old me can deal with it if that happens. She told me I didn't really have a good reason to like the name, and Indy seemed like the kind of name someone young likes, but not someone older. Then yesterday happened, and I kind of lost my temper. She started out asking the same stuff, and the baby is almost ready to be born. So I know it's coming to an end. But she asked me to really think about why and help her, because she couldn't figure out what she'd do differently than my parents did. Then she said they really shouldn't have let me change my name so young. I snapped and I told her to stop asking me the same question because my answer won't change, and her comments are not changing my mind because I don't like old-fashioned names. I told her I think they're awful, and I'm sick and tired of hearing about how much better they are and having her try to make me find a reason she finds acceptable. I told her, just like she hates Indy, I hate Evelyn, and she needs to let it fucking go already. She burst into tears, and my brother got so mad at me. My parents were also like, why did I have to speak to her so harshly?
I've had a friend who projected like crazy. She just started a new diet, only eating once a day or something like that, and told me that it would improve my life as well. The thing is, I listened to her talking about how it helped her and the generally reported benefits, but I told her that it wasn't for me. I've later even got told by my doctor that for my stomach I shouldn't do that. My friend took this as a personal attack that I disagreed with her and her lifestyle. She got really nasty about it, because in her mind, if everybody doesn't agree with her way of living, it means her life is wrong. So I can see that reaction. It's not rational, and it's not meant personally. It's just this deep fear of not living life right. Luckily for me, I let that friendship go. But being family, this sounds like a deeper problem sister-in-law has to address. And everyone else has to stop enabling her.
Am I the asshole for telling my mom it wasn't cute or funny to dress me as a hot dog instead of a princess?
So there's this new Target commercial going around where a little girl dresses as a hot dog, and it came on while my family was watching a scary movie. I am home from college for the weekend and brought my boyfriend. My mother decided it would be hilarious to mention that she'd made me a hot dog costume as a kid, except the way she told the story, it was my request. She said that all the girls wanted to be Disney princesses, but I had asked to be a hot dog, and so she'd gone out of her way to make me that costume. What actually happened is that I wanted to be Snow White, and had told everyone, including the teachers, that I was going to be Snow White. I was obsessed with that movie as a kid, to the point where I would actually get invested in doing chores because I was cleaning up just like Snow White. My dad and I would watch that movie all the time, and I was very excited to be Snow White for Halloween, especially because my ballet studio was doing a special princess dance for Halloween, and we'd all signed up for special princess slots, and I'd shown up early with my dad the week before so I could get to be Snow White. My mother decided that she wanted to be quirky and that Snow White was a bad role model after I got in trouble for trying to cook dinner for my family. I was about 8, and I tried to make hot dogs like how she made food for the dwarves in the movie, and I made a mess. My mom surprised me on the day of with this crappy hot dog suit and told me if I didn't wear it, she'd never let me watch Snow White again. She took a million pictures. The other girls teased me for months, and it was one of the most humiliating moments of my childhood. I told the real story and mentioned that I got through the day by pretending that she was the evil queen making me dress in rags, but the rags happened to be a garbage meat costume. She got really quiet after that, and after we left, my brother says she was crying and looking at the pictures from that Halloween. I didn't want to make my mom cry, but it's a shitty memory for me, and it felt like she was trying to humiliate me all over again in front of my boyfriend.
Letting your parents pretend that everything they did was perfect? It's a terrible way to approach your adult parent-child relationship. We, the parents, need to hear about this to reconcile our self-image with who we were to you, the children. My own parents are still pretty crappy about admitting to the past. Denial is an addictive drug, so I don't really bother anymore. However, I make a point of telling my kid that I probably messed up plenty. I've asked him to tell me about it when those memories come up for him. We've had a couple of hard, painful conversations about times I've hurt him. They're important for him to get out there. It's cathartic to say it out loud. I sincerely believe that it helps heal our inner child when our parents affirm our version of memories and soothe our hurts.
If you stuck until the end, don't forget to like and subscribe. It would help me a lot, and it would motivate me to post more. Thank you for being here, and don't forget, you are beautiful.